Hello, welcome to the OMO Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunnigan.
And we have finally come to the end of our Pokemon Red and Blue / Yellow journey. And this one almost goes down like fucking Goku fighting Frieza. It's almost like the best way to be like that.
It is kind of like, it does kind of have that, I mean, there's no point where they have like a time limit. It does come across like, you have 5 minutes, and 5 minutes apparently lasts like 10 episodes.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but this was at the very end of the day. I mean, it literally is like, for the most part, it's this humongous fucking battle of Yellow versus Lance. You know, just getting down to it, just like, hey, there's other stuff that happens in there too, but like, it is literally a ginormous fucking book of just like, let's fucking show each other who's got the best fucking Pokemons. Who's got the biggest fucking dick. Well, actually, I don't have a dick. What? Yeah, Yellow.
Yeah, it's personal.
Oh, I see how it is. Well, shit. Hold on, let me go get I'll go get some fucking surgery and we'll make it even.
Lance just takes it that seriously.
He is. It's like he's really into Pokemon training. He'll do anything to fucking win an award.
Well, going through it, it's one of those things where the other volumes are like, okay, so for one chapter a big battle happens, but this is kind of, I mean, you get little bits of plot throughout the battles, but this is basically, here's this battle over here, here's this battle over there, and within there you get exposition and explanations of things that are happening and things that are gonna happen. But basically this does feel like you get one of those Dragon Ball Z seasons where it's just one long battle. You know, you're building up the Cell Saga. Like, okay, Cell Saga, it's its own season. And then you kind of have the actual fight with Cell, and that itself is a season.
You're like,
so
oh, and Cell's his own season too. Shit. You know, that's always how Dragon Ball Z, because there's like 3 seasons in that are just like, there's the Frieza one where it's just all Frieza versus Goku. Then there's, you know, the whole battle of Cell, and then there's the whole battle of Majin Buu, you know? So it's just like those massive seasons, just like, we love fucking fighting. It's all we know.
Pretty much, and this has a little bit of that too. I mean, there's some things I'll say that they pop in there, try to make it as if like, there's some things they drop in this as if it's like, what a twist. Like, you just realized that? I'm pretty sure I saw that. I thought we all just didn't say, because we all kind of assumed what was going on. But you're like, oh, they're attacking these different towns because the gym's here. Like, you just now put that together?
Yeah, it's just like, well, Professor Oak's just kind of standing like, you know, oh, I'm here ready to defend. Anyone coming to Pallet Town? Fucking tumbleweed rolls by. Oh, I'll get you.
So it's, I thought it was a Tangela. Never mind. Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, it was a Tangela. That Tangela has a dustpan. Well, I guess I can't attack him now. He's doing a good deed there. Cleaning up that.
Just sitting on a porch with his, like, sparrows. Just like, don't worry, they'll come by. Battle's going to come by here any minute.
Don't you worry. Yep, Old Oak's got the old town protected, I tell ya. Nothing. He's all in like a fucking little like cowboy outfit for some reason.
Sheriff Oak is on the case.
He's sure taking care of it.
Somebody just looks out the window. They just see him like strutting up and down the street, like in chaps and like a big 10-gallon hat. Like, man, he's taking that divorce really bad.
Should anyone tell him they should put on pants if he's gonna wear the chaps? No, I think it's better this way that he doesn't know that. Just stand out there, fucking ass cheeks in the sun.
A little vitamin D.
He's a senior citizen, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just forget those things.
It's one of those things like either he doesn't know or he doesn't give a shit. Either way, it's probably best not to correct him. Just let him do what he's doing.
But yeah, so I guess that's the thing, is if you have a gym, and as long as you have a gym and you're not Lieutenant Surge, you're not, I almost said Cage, not fucking Cage, Koga, and you're not Sabrina, then, you know, those towns are all fine and dandy, I guess.
And it opens up with, like, a very quick thing. That's what they put it together. Like, wait, they're attacking the towns with the gyms. Like, wait, they're going for our gym badges, you know, because apparently the more... because that's something from the game, but it's also one of those things where they actually make a lot more of it. It's a much bigger deal in this. And, like, the video games, it seems like, oh, yeah, they'll listen, like, creatures, like, level 30 and higher will now listen to you or whatever. But it's one of those other things where just like, oh, I thought it was more of just a status thing. I thought that was just a little, like, thing they put in there just so you can't like trick the system or break the game or anything. But in this, like, oh no, that's part of the story. That's part of the story. You need, if you get those badges, you can control them a lot easier, a lot more easier to maintain, and they're just going after the different gyms. And that whole part goes by fairly quick. Then it kind of cuts back to what's going on like Elite Four Island, basically.
Well, and also in the game, though, like, when you do get the badges, they always have something that, like, you know, the gym leader will always say something, but you're mostly just, like, pounding A to get past it. But he always says something like, well, this will also grant you more, like, strength or more viability or any, like, something like that. And I always just kind of thought, like, oh, no, he's just fucking blowing smoke up my ass. Like, it's just a fucking badge. Just give it fucking to me. I'm fucking 10 years old. But, like, so I think, like, they kind of take that little notion that, like, each gym always kind of says, and says, like, oh, okay, well, this thing actually does hold this power in it. You know, and by having all these powers together and putting them into the fucking, like, the cow says moo thing, we can, like, you know, generate, you know, massive amount of energy to, like, take over Kanto.
Well, on top of that, they also just, I mean, this goes back a few issues ago, but, like, they even bring in the way, like, you stop them evolving. In the game, it's just like, oh, yeah, just push B to stop them evolving. And this, like, that's part of the story. You can stop them from evolving by setting a frequency through the Pokedex. And that comes across right here. At some point, Yellow, not jumping too far ahead, but at some point, Yellow ends up having to, like, fight a bunch of, he doesn't have the Pokedex on him, and all his guys fight, and they all evolve all at once because he's been stopping them this whole time.
He's been holding them back. It's like he's been holding back his Pokemon from, like, jerking off this whole time or whatever, and then they just finally explode.
I can't help it anymore. Dun 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 dun. Oh! Yeah.
Yeah, and just every single one of them evolves. Even fucking, like, Graveler is just like, oh, it's been so hard holding it in. You know, when Brock traded me, I was just supposed to evolve right there on the spot, and this fucking little girl just keeps pressing B every fucking time. Each fucking time. You just don't realize that's fucking painful.
I got 4 arms and nothing to grab onto. Ugh.
You know, it's like in Japan when, like, they wanted to make, you know, girls' feet stay smaller, so, like, they wrap them up in, like, tough bandages so they don't grow as a child. Well, yeah, that's fucking what it's like when you press B each time.
Is that fucking real?
Yeah, they have one of those, like, weird old-fashioned things like, oh, you know, keep the girl's feet, keep her feet small. You know, they would wrap, like, you know, young girls, like, feet with, like, big old tight bandages so, like, it wouldn't grow. What other problems you probably get, like, fucking down the line? You're like, I'm supposed to be a size, you know, 6, but now I'm a size 2.5 still. Same size as birth.
All right. I just learned something new today.
So
anyway, back to the island.
Graveler's being fucking wrapped up, like... What was that thing that, like, Yellow this whole time, she's like, oh, she's just, like, she knows Pokemon so well and so on, but no, it actually, like, behind closed doors, it's like, no, she's very, like, she's a lot more aggressive, and you don't see this on the outside, but, yeah, she has her ways, and if you don't follow them, believe me, there's consequences to be had.
Is there something like, it's just like, all right, you just gotta, like, she seems all, like, you know, kind and loving, but it's like, if you fucking evolve,
I will strap you up on a cross and leave you out there for the fucking Romans to see every day. Like, oh god.
Did she just say the role? I guess she does come. She is Spaniard, so you know.
She does have this. He's dressed like the olden days and so on.
She has that whole conquistador thing going on. Like, you believe in God, right? Oh, well, how many troops you got behind you? Yeah, sure. God's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck this thing. They just push over a statue of Buddha. We don't believe that shit. Fuck.
Yeah, get this fucking out of here. Reclaim this land. She's like, oh, she's trying to go out on a conquest, really. Realistically, she's continuing, like, Spanish imperialism. You know what I mean? And believe me, she's got something against the Americans for that Spanish-American War.
She hasn't forgotten.
She hasn't forgotten. Just this, like, flashback of, like, whenever it goes back in fucking Pokemon years.
To like, you know, the 1800s.
Yeah, just fucking sees Theodore Roosevelt there, just stands there just so fucking angry.
Wait, Theodore is more like 1920 or something, right? Shit.
Yeah, it's like the turn. It's like right around the turn of the century, right there. Like that,
1910, 1920s, somewhere around there. Like
it's like the Big Deal War, and then World War I happened, so it kind of went away.
Oh yeah. Oh,
You know
that's
what I
right.
mean?
So
Like,
it would have been like late 1800s, early 1900s. Okay, yeah.
yeah, so it's just yeah, and then like World War One happened, then like which is I feel like it's a real big deal, that Spanish-American War, but like it's just totally like the forgotten war nowadays. But yeah, Pokemon Adventures, Spanish.
Anyway, so there we jump back to Yellow, and we get a little bit in like Yellow and Blaine are still lost in the cave, and they're trying to get into where the action's happening, and that's where is that where he doesn't explain. He doesn't explain how his arm starts getting messed, how his whole connection to Mewtwo just yet. But they end up going and coming across Lance, and that's where it becomes this battle between Blaine using Mewtwo and Lance. And they do get across the whole thing about like how they're always, because you look at it, they're usually in the same poses and have the same expression. And the thing is, the only way to really control something as strong as Mewtwo is to have some of the psychic bond with it. So he kind of shared, so while making him, he put in some of his DNA into Mewtwo, and then injected Mewtwo's DNA into him. That's why he has his hand wrapped up. So whenever he's using his psychic powers and all that stuff, that's why his arm starts to act up, and they both get worked up really easily. Like, he is still the strongest thing in the world, but basically he can only be out for like 30 minutes at a time, because
I think it was like 3 minutes.
Did I say 30 minutes? I meant 3 minutes, yeah. 3 minutes at a time. Otherwise, basically, Blaine could die. I guess he could let Mewtwo run rampant, but, Yeah,
I guess you just see what happens there. But the whole point is he's like, Yellow, fucking, you watch this right here. You learn how fucking Lance attacks, and you learn his strategies as I use this 3 minutes of fucking pain and sending out Mewtwo.
Well, a thing I like what they do with Mewtwo is he is super strong, but a lot of times in other things, it's like, well, you're going against Mewtwo, so what's the point? Where in this, it's like, no, he's really strong, but he's still like something like, Aerodactyl or whatever can still give him a fight.
Yeah, well, it's almost like it's that thing that, like, since Mewtwo was kind of created in a lab, he still has some kind of weird flaws and so on. He's not perfect, Like, they sort of, in other ones, they sort of make him like he's the most perfectly, created Pokemon of all time. But in this one, I kind of like it's almost more like he's sort of like Tyrant from, like, Resident Evil or something like that.
Kind of is a little bit of Shadow the Hedgehog, kind of,
Yeah.
So
Well, he does have that shout, like in the anime, he definitely has like the Shadow the Hedgehog, like, who am I? What am I? What's the point of living? You know what I mean?
Everything sucks.
Yeah, everything's been done before. Every album, everything. Like, why even bother? You know what I mean? Somebody's already done it and done it better. Like, I'm never gonna be Bruce Springsteen. Let's just face the fucking facts.
That was Mewtwo's grand hope to be. I'm never gonna be Bruce Springsteen.
It just shows Mewtwo. He's like going to like his first concert. He's got like a fucking little like. He's got a fucking jacket on with patches and a fucking Bruce Springsteen headband.
Red bandana.
I don't know why that's just so fucking funny. He's like going there. He's just like, yeah, I'm gonna be a musician. Then he sees the concert. He's like, what's the fucking point? It's just the fucking best thing ever. There's no reason to even try anymore. It's just that good. He's like, yeah, but
he's on his 60s, sliding in on his knees, doing a solo, still just rocking that shit. And he could do like a bad power solo, and then on top of that, he could still come in and do like a sad, meaningful acoustic song like "The River" or do like all of Nebraska. Like, God, I did not know Mewtwo was this big of a Springsteen fan.
It's like that thing. He's like the biggest fan ever, but then he finally sees him live, and it almost brings him down because he's like, life will never get any better than that one moment.
You go inside his Pokeballs, he just has all these different Springsteen albums in there and vinyls.
Yeah, exactly.
I honestly, for a minute, I seemed like, okay, we're gonna go for the obvious one. He's gonna be into the Used, or he's gonna be into like, maybe Smashing Pumpkins or something like that. No, he's totally a Springsteen fan, but
he goes back farther. You know what I mean? Because you always
that whole thing of like, it doesn't matter where you come from, you can be great, you can come to greatness, but it'll never be the boss, so why even try?
Yeah, but you're always gonna be working under the boss. Just Bruce Springsteen, just a picture of him like under my thumb, Mewtwo, under my thumb. But in this one here, it's just like I just like the way Mewtwo's kind of done, because he's just done like, he is a super powerful Pokemon, but he's still just a regular Pokemon. He's not this like, oh, I can control everything and I'm this overly powered fucking like cell creature. Dragon Ball.
He's not this thing that can turn back time suddenly, or bring the dead back to life out of nowhere, or like in the newest movie, like Detective Pikachu, where he's just like, "Oh, you all got turned. We just turn you back into humans for some reason. Doesn't matter. Okay. Magic, woo, way."
You guys all like spoons, right?
Well, I'm guessing I can see you do. So
I guess you never seen this trick before. He starts breathing on the spoon, puts it on his nose, like, woo.
You know, the whole thing about you, like, turning, bringing people back to life, that was way more impressive. Then he just shoots him, like, a dirty look. Like, no, this is still really cool. But,
He's like, yeah, whoa, here's the thing. Look how fucking much the spoon weighs. Here, you want to hold the spoon? I bet your little fucking pansy hands can't hold the spoon. Yeah, that's what fucking thing. It's not like I put a plastic fucking spork on from KFC here. Shit, people, be impressed.
Someone really wanted to have him be swinging the spoon around throughout, because I don't remember seeing that a whole lot. And I mean, granted,
there's just that one
the game
attack.
has limited graphics. I want to say there was like an attack where like some kind of psychic attack where I never used that many psychic characters in Gen 1, but where it was like I remember seeing like a spoon wave or something like that. But
and I
think
want
they
to say that almost
that,
like I think only Mewtwo has that, and maybe Mew. Like I don't know, maybe Alakazam does have it at some point.
But at some point, I remember just being kind of like, yeah, you know what? I just never really used that many psychic characters in that. And by the time you get Mewtwo, the game's done. You know what I mean? By the time you get the strongest character in the game's done. So it's just like, all right, I never had a chance to use them that much. But Mewtwo, though, in this, they do like the image of him like swinging that spoon around like it's a big ass sword or something.
Mm-hmm. No, it looks cool like that and whatnot. But yeah, of course, Blaine goes, and then the battle he gets like drained of his energy, and then there's nothing more that Blaine can do. So I can't remember. Blaine gets like blasted out of there or something like that.
He gets hurt during the battle, and it starts to become too much for him to take in. And they start fighting the Dragonairs, and the two Dragonairs are pretty badass. Like that's the thing about them. They always look all nice and angelic, but they're like fucking violent, angry fucking monsters.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, now I remember because they had this plan that like they were going to destroy Lance's other balls. With the say it like that. And they target on there, and then they end up just like Mewtwo does like a I don't know, he does like that whirlwind attack thing, and it ends up breaking him. But then Lance is like, oh yeah, by the way, I already released them out, so you just owe me some money.
All that shifting and all that, like everything you've been feeling, all these random earthquakes and all that, they're digging underground. That's when like Gyarados and I think like Dragonair or Dragonite pop out of the ground or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's exactly what happens and so on. And then by that point, it gets to the point where like, Yellow has to battle Lance and, gotta use the power of love.
Well, it is kind of interesting because it is the most like talented trainer versus the most inexperienced trainer, and it is someone going by I'm not even going to say Lance is pure logic, because he's not motivated by logic, he's not really motivated by reason, he's motivated by one thing that happened to him as a kid, and like, never, that's all we're going off of, just this one thing, yep, just this one thing, we'll get to that one thing later, but from there, we end up having more of a, it is kind of this, it's more of like a raw skill versus trickery kind of thing as this battle goes on. Which once again, the series is good about making none of the battles ever really seem like exactly the same.
Yeah, exactly. There's always something kind of different, and they always kind of work some real like logical ways to go in there and so on. I will say there's only one thing that was kind of weird. Like this part didn't bother me at first, where it's like, okay, they learned that like, oh shit, Lance actually has that same ability that Yellow has, where he can like talk to Pokemon and communicate with them. And so I like how Sabrina's probably like, shit, like nobody's getting me fucking credit. I can do that same shit too, but no, not Sabrina. And then they do this weird thing where like, just like how they did that thing in like the one of the previous books, they're like, oh, all the main fucking Pokemon champions come from fucking Pallet Town. It's like, what? That's fucking weird. They do this weird thing where it's like, oh, like, well, in Viridian Forest, like, so everything fucking happens.
Magic people.
Yeah, that like magic people are born, and that's the only thing is like whenever there's in like it doesn't matter if it's a movie or a comic or what have you, like whenever they have that sort of thing where it's like, oh, it's the chosen one or something like that, I always think that's one of those like, to me that's always kind of like, nah, that's kind of bullshit. I mean, I get it if it's like a super fantasy story and that's what you're going with, but Pokemon to me has always represented that, like, if you put in the hard work, the effort, and tie it up with logic and intelligence, you could accomplish anything. Like, that to me has always been, like, the moral of Pokemon. So I think it's weird to have these, like, throw in these weird little fantasy elements once in a while of this, like, sort of like, oh, this forest chooses people. Like, what does it? No, it doesn't. Forest, you go in there, it's almost like a haunted maze where there's all these, like, bug catchers that are trying to fucking rob you of your, like, $20.
Yeah. It's like, I just want to get the fuck out of here and find a Pikachu or a Bulbasaur before I do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll say, just going back to the fight with Mewtwo for a second, when they bring Mewtwo back, I do want to say, for how badass he is, and when they have him go into the Master Ball, and just way he's sitting there, it's probably not meant to be funny, but it just looks funny, just because you saw how badass and all powerful this thing is, and it's probably not even meant to look funny, but just the way how he's sitting in the ball, like, this is fucking bullshit.
Yeah, just like sit there like, whatever, man, you're the one that brought me on this fucking trip anyways, I didn't want to go.
I don't need to be on timeout right now. Fuck you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I want a sippy cup. Shit.
Show me someone who doesn't want a sippy cup. I'll show you a fucking liar.
Yeah, I'll slap him across the fucking face with my giant spoon.
Here you go. Just shut the fuck up. Charge up. We'll wake you up when, like, Blaine is not dying.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but no, they do that whole thing where, yeah, I want to say that's one of the ways they can make this battle go on for a little while longer, because, you know, Yellow, I'm not sure if he ever has to, but he can heal all his guys, and then Lance could heal all his guys too, so that's one of the things that can make this thing go on for a while. And I don't remember if they've even acknowledged that, really, but that's one of those another things where it's kind of like, it's interesting that this is, because, you know, you keep on imagining, okay, it's gonna be Red versus Lance, but I never felt like Lance was a super personal villain in this series. I mean, he's not really meant to be a villain. He's meant to just be kind of like a big badass. But he never really felt like all that much of a personal character. So I don't think it's a big deal that Red does not in the series fighting him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's weird because it sort of does work out this way. I guess because it's one of those ones, like, you know, Blue was Red's main, like, antagonist, I guess you would almost say. And then it's like Yellow and Lance, since they have this weird, like, because they're both like characters that are all, because in a sense Lance is all about like the power of love too, but he got it in a very jaded way. So like in his world that like he lives in, he's doing it all for love, but in a sense it's making him look like a tyrant. You know, because he's just so lost in, like, his ideals, you know? And then, of course, Yellow, she's got that power of, like, you know what, Pokemon, they could be your best friends ever. We could live life together. Let's not hurt anyone, okay? I mean, unless you really fucking piss me off, then I'm gonna fucking kill you. Because that's where Yellow fucking gets to that point. Graveler's just like, oh, don't get her angry. Don't get her angry. It's just not worth it. It's just like, Graveler's just sitting there in the corner rocking like, it's just, no, Graveler, be good. Graveler, be good.
She just pulls out like a little like switchblade, like turns around, like making an expression, just kind of leans in, like
fucking carving her initials in there to him. Graveler gets back to Brock, or I guess it'd be a Golem by that point and stuff. He's just like, don't you ever leave me. Don't you fucking ever do that again. You're fucking a terrible traitor, Brock. You don't know who, you're just giving me to people you don't even trust. Did you do a fucking background check on her? Did you do a fucking background check on her?
I love how Graveler is just PTSD Goofy.
It's like, it's not the voice.
Like Goofy who's just how he's got out of Nom. Like, God damn it, Pete, they're in the bushes. Charlie's in the fucking bushes. Ah.
I so want to see the fucking Goof Troop movie where it's Pete and fucking Goofy in Vietnam. Like that right there is like that is gold. I like, you know what I mean? Shit.
That's the fourth straight to DVD movie.
Yeah, Max, I gotta tell you a story about you know your dad's old war days. Yeah.
You know the reason why I never went to college? Well, let me tell you a story.
Yeah.
you just hear like zombies, like, is anybody out there? As it fades into the scene. A lot of Vietnam lately.
I know. I don't know what it is. I just been kind of, I don't, it sounds weird. Like, I've been in this Vietnam mood, but like, there just kind of happens to be that. I don't know.
And I haven't even seen that Spike Lee movie yet. I really want to.
Is there a new Vietnam movie?
There's a Spike Lee Vietnam movie called Da 5 Bloods. It's on Netflix. I haven't even had a chance to watch it yet, but curious.
That's the thing. Is like nowadays without having the movie theaters anymore, it just feels like movies have just like kind of like fell off their fucking radar. Almost it seems like it's like there's nowhere to find out about them anymore. So it's like, oh, okay.
I haven't seen it, but from going off the trailer I saw, it looks like it's kind of the Black Vietnam version of Three Kings.
That sounds like kind of interesting. So they're on like a gold heist or some kind.
Yeah, like they buried gold there back in the war, and they're coming back to get it, and all this shit's starting to kind of, this guy starts to get, they start to have like trust issues, all this. Actually, more of like less Three Kings and more of that. It's that Humphrey Bogart movie. I forget what it's called. It's a Spanish name, but basically where they're looking for gold, and Humphrey Bogart gets all greedy. He says, "I'll kill them all. I don't give a goddamn. This is my gold," and then it just turns into like, just this almost psychological movie, sort of.
Oh, yeah.
I forget what it's called. But
is that Sierra Madre?
Treasure of Sierra Madre, yeah. So it's apparently really pulls from that, and it's Vietnam, and it's just like these old war vets going back to Nam to get their gold.
Going back to Nam, going back to my home, do. But yeah, so Yellow here, fucking, she comes in, not, well, I don't know, she could be this, we never know, maybe at some point she does become this scary thing, and fucking Graveler fucking writes a tell-all story 20 years later.
It's called Yellow Bellied. Yeah, it's just him being all scared.
Yeah, just be like, I thought I had it in me, but I didn't. No, Graveler didn't. But you're a golem now. Well, it was always a Graveler to me. Well, once you've been a Graveler, it's hard to accept that you're a golem now. Sometimes
that's got to be a whole identity crisis. Like for most of my life, people been calling me by Graveler, and now people call me Golem, and I'm not used to it. I still feel like the same guy, but people tell me you're not.
Just like it's just you got to get used to it. It's just so I guess that's about being a Pokemon. You know what I mean? It's like you get used to it.
We're just tools for people. We're just like the next step of Flintstones.
Yeah, at least Flintstones, they get fucking union wages.
Well, so right here, right before they have like a little bit of a fight, and then they stop for a second, basically to just kind of like, Yellow says like, but I do it all with compassion and love and all that, and Lance is like, oh, don't talk to me about compassion and love, and like, but I love my Pokemon, I want to do the right thing, like, shut up, and they start fighting again. Like he's like, how about you go in lava? How about you shut the fuck up? And then somehow like he ends up having this whole big long fight in the lava where he's basically on that substitute surfboard thing.
Mm-hmm.
With and the battle's still going on the whole time. Pika's just losing his shit when he sees Lance because he's getting flashbacks to the battle. I'm gonna kill this motherfucker. I'm gonna like cut him open and crawl inside him like a tauntaun.
Exactly. And there's nothing you can do about Yellow. I know you always tell me compassion, but Pika doesn't have that compassion anymore.
He lost it in the war. And then we cut back to Lorelai, and I will say this isn't me complaining because I understand what this series is. I totally understand. Mm-hmm. We cut back to the battle with like Green and Sabrina versus Lorelai. The battle's going on for a while. Eventually, Green snaps out like Sabrina because they're both handcuffed together more or less through that little like voodoo ice thing on their wrist, and they're thrown off a cliff, and once again, Green does the whole Blastoise jetpack thing, bringing them back up. And the fight goes on for a little bit longer, and she says, well, how did you come across Yellow in the first place? And while basically she comes up, she says, like, look, here's what happened was I was out there, I saw Pika, he looked all cut up and bloody, so I was following him, I lost him, and then came across this little girl who was like fishing and like drawing shit. And then I saw that she knew Red. I'm like, wait, do you know who Red is? And you're like, oh yeah, he caught this Pikachu, this Rattata for me. And then from there, that's where she recruited her and says, look, put this hat over your head so they think you're least likely to come in and do all this shit.
Yeah, well, I gotta give it like, don't say your fucking name, put this stupid fucking hat on. Make everybody think
Man's world now.
Yeah, you could be a man now. The weird thing too is because Yellow even kind of like once everybody kind of realizes it's like, oh, Yellow is a girl. It's almost like, or it's not a boy, it's a girl. For some reason, Yellow's still like, well, I'm still just gonna dress like a boy. Like, I've already been kind of shell shocked into believing that I am a boy. It's like that thing when like a mom's like, well, I always wanted a daughter, but I only have this little boy, so I'm just gonna dress him up in girls' clothes when he's like 7 years old and see how that affects him in the future.
Well, her big disguise is the hat to hide the ponytail, because you look at her, she's basically wearing the same thing.
Yeah.
And so it's literally like that thing from like every 90s teen like comedy, like, I'm just the weird, awkward girl. I'm not hot. And like, I know that not another teen movie made this joke, but it's so fucking true. They just took off her glasses and took off her ponytail. Like, oh, whoa, she's hot now, So they totally do that here, where they just put this hat on. Oh, look, you're a boy,
Hopefully nobody here's like, oh man, dude, she's fucking hot now. It's like, dude, she's like 8 years old.
Oh, they're so good. Some asshole, like, some asshole might just take that line out of context. On the newest podcast of Old Man Orange,
they talked about an 8-year-old girl who was really a boy for the longest time, and then a girl, like blah 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 blah. And it's just like, oh no. But you know what I mean? Like, yeah, the old hat trick, or whatever. It's just like, oh, well,
I was a boy though. I was a girl the whole time. Ha ha. Like that type of shit. And yeah, they do that thing we say like, oh, I think it's that kid. Because I didn't put it together, and then you mentioned it, like, oh yeah, I think it's that kid that Red saved in that one issue, and you're like, you were 100% right. It totally is that kid.
Yeah, I know, because I remember like on our last podcast, I pulled open the book afterwards, and I was like, in number 3 or whatever the heck it was, it's like, yep, there it is, right there. It's like, because that was part that threw me off. Like first, I'm like, maybe it is just a different character. I mean, the book's in black and white, so it's not like you have that exact like sealing in the deal for like the character look. So I'm like, oh, maybe that character had a different color hair, and okay, whatever. And it's like, oh, okay, that's what it ended up being. But
now here,
I will say, there's this part right here. I thought is like, it's one of those ones like it turns out to be something else, but like it is kind of one of those ones like when you just kind of think of the concept as is in a book like this. I thought was just like really fucking ballsy. Is there's the part where like when when Green and Sabrina are tied up, with the handcuffs on and whatnot, and then like the little voodoo doll ice sculpture thing breaks, and then like you just see like Green stand there for like a scene, like her arms like ripped off, and it's like literally is like dripping blood in there, and you're like,
expression on her face, yeah,
you just kind of see that, and like it's almost like one of those ones like where you're like, the fuck, like I'm just surprised you could almost even draw that. Now, granted, it does turn out to be, Ditto kind of faking being her arm and whatnot, and it makes sense why she's wearing this jacket, I guess. She goes explaining like, this is why I had a reason why I put this jacket on, just for if anybody was wondering.
Like everything has a reason, because at some point she just throws in the jacket. You don't think anything of it, and now it's just like, oh, it was because of this. So they do the little bit of those Sherlock Holmes kind of things, like the small details, like, oh, that weird fumbly guy in the corner in that one scene. Oh, that was actually Robert Downey Jr. just in disguise for a second,
Mm-hmm.
So. Like, oh, the reason she threw on a jacket, well, it was a Ditto, So just some weird shit like that. But there is that thing. The series does do that thing where, more than once, where it's like, oh shit, this got ballsy. Like, well, actually, and then it has kind of a little backdoor that gets it out of that. But I think it's somebody, I think they're like, you know what, we kind of wish we could do that, but we just thought it'd be a fun little trick. Like, I guess it's their way to, we can draw it, but at the same time, no consequence. That doesn't really happen because the spell got made once they actually had the spell got made once she was actually wearing the jacket and all this was happening, so that was never her arm in the first place. So that's how she's able to get away with that. And from there, and they even like draw it looks like it's dripping blood kind of for a second.
Yeah, I will say that would have been so ballsy if they kept it like that. Be like, oh no, dude, like her arm just got fucking torn off, and Green is that crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
I kind of wish they did do that. Yeah, like I wish that it was one of those things. Like, I mean, if you wanted to still kind of keep in the same realm, you say, well, it's Star Wars rules. Since it's a voodoo thing, it's cauterized or whatever.
Well, yeah, and it's just, you could just get a robot hand just like Luke Skywalker at some point too. So like, but like just because like you even look at like her facial expression, there's like that point where it's like Lorelai's like, dude, what the fuck did you just do? You just ripped your own arm off and stuff like that, and like Green even has that look on her face like, I fucking will win this battle. What do you fucking think about that?
I lost my arm.
And then she like fucking like looks like she passes out, just like, oh shit, like she still couldn't fucking handle it. But then that's part of the trick.
And that's where the arm grows and changes, turns into Ditto, and basically just wraps up Jinx and Lorelai, and basically says, "Ha, you won! Like I won! Like, oh, I'll give you credit. You are one crazy bitch."
Yeah, I love how like Sabrina afterwards is like,
That's
"Are
where we
you
go back to
fucking
Red
kidding?"
and Bruno.
Oh, I just want to say, I love the part though where Sabrina's like, "Are you fucking kidding? This whole time we could have been fucking free, and I've just been strapped to a fucking Ditto."
It's like, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, fucking, that's a pretty cool plan, huh?
Well, it also shows. I think they had to do that because for a minute it seemed like I think they wanted to just give. This is just me assuming. I have no idea. I think they're kind of like, you know what? Given their personality clashes, because eventually we see that Blue and Koga are able to put differences aside and make their work happen. Where I think like we don't want the exact same thing happening here. So what if we got two people who can't work together at all? So we give that character a moment to shine, and we give the other character a moment to shine when they do their own thing.
Yeah, I think so. I think that kind of is sort of thing, and it's kind of like a funny little bit too that I think works. But then then we do go to like back to Bruno and Red's battle and whatnot, and like this one, I love when fucking like, I mean, at first I think there's also the you got the Eevee and it's able to switch into different types and so on. But I love the fucking like, I don't know what it is, whenever Poliwrath is fighting, it just looks fucking awesome because there's like part where he's fighting like Machamp and he literally like grabs one of his fists and then he's got his fist up. He's like, boy, don't you fucking try to hit me.
I think you said it best. It was like when a kid goes to swing at his dad who's been drinking too much. Yeah, how that looks.
And his dad's like an ex-boxer.
And like the look Poliwrath has, and like Machamp or whatever, or like Hypno-Lee, whichever one it was, just has this look like, oh, I just got fucked.
Yeah, exactly. Or there's even the part too where fucking Machamp he tackles down fucking like Poliwrath. He's just on top of him like like almost like fucking looking like Deliverance or something.
It does do that first. Oh my god, it totally is. Just from the position it is, because he's in like he's in little man speedo too. Yeah. Just, all right, boy, here we go. And
want you to squeal like a pig.
Here's also where they start to bring in the aspect of
Bruno's just like, Machamp, no, I told you, bad Machamp. Gets out the fucking squirt bottle.
Yeah. Like he's at the dog park or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like, sorry, he's got a humping problem. I thought we worked this over before the thing, but
that's got to be a thing, like in the Pokemon world, when like for the people who don't train and don't battle, they just take them to like a Poke Park or whatever, and they're you got like something, you got like a Machop chasing after like a Poliwag or something.
And then you just got the Pokemon fan club there just being like, oh, I love when this happens. This is my favorite.
They're not allowed in there.
They're like, oh, come on. Well, we're just Pokemon fans. We just love them just like you do. No, sir, no.
We're also going to need you to leave the camera with us, too.
Yeah. Oh, man, come on, dude. They're just little tykes, you know what I mean? I love it. The smaller they are, the better. The more helpless they are.
Small and feeble, can't defend themselves. Like, all right.
Okay. Sir, take that fucking disguise off. Hey, that's my actual face, I tell ya.
Did he have the swirly glasses too? I don't remember.
He might just have those whenever he was just like, he's like the pervert glasses almost. That
was the thing. It was either the nerdy thing, like the I don't know what that is. The Japanese, like the glasses just always have constant swirls in them.
Yeah, well, I think it's just that, like, because mostly it's used as, because even the nerdy guy that mostly has it, he's mostly always the nerdy guy in school that's like, Kyoko's gonna, like, take her shirt off today, You're like...
I was just thinking, going back to last week's episode, Chinese Connection, like, if that was an anime, the part where Bruce Lee sneaks in dressed as a phone guy, he totally would have
swirly glasses.
The character he's playing there.
Yeah, he so would have had that there.
But anyway, yeah, so Machamp and Poliwrath, and I don't know, something about Poliwrath, because, I'm used to seeing Machamp in the game, and it's just like, okay, cool, this four-armed, like, monster guy, cool, whatever. But whenever you see him drawn out and actually fulfilling through certain, like, motions, like, oh, when he actually pins something down, it actually looks kind of, like, intimidating, especially this grin he gets right here, right before he does it. But, like you said, like, we realized that Red's the one who got those different stones, and while this shit was going on, he's like, okay, I gotta get ready for this fight, I gotta stock up, I gotta get those stones, and I got that Eevee with that weird defect that can kind of evolve back and forth, I could use this to my advantage.
Yeah, so it's got that cool Eevee that like Team Rocket fucking like experimented on, so you can like it can like evolve and de-evolve pretty much at will, which is kind of a cool thing. Like I almost wish you see that and you're like, dude, that would be such a kind of a cool ability like in Pokemon, like for Eevee is this like some kind of one where you could almost like have a move where you could switch it to like other Eevees and go back and forth like that. That's kind of just neat in itself. I don't think that ever probably happened in the game, but it's one of those ones like that could be kind of cool.
And for a minute, it seems like it dies, like Eevee, just off like this cliff. And then you find out that it turned into, because everyone's like, no one ever like got Vaporeon really. But right here, it's like, oh, Vaporeon actually has more of a use because it turns into like a puddle, and then right as like Machamp is basically about to beat Poliwrath, rape Poliwrath or whatever, that's where it hops out and turns in jumps out of this puddle. Like, oh shit, it was a puddle the whole time. Attacks him and turns into Jolteon, and then that's where you see Bruno. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, then Jolteon just does like the pin missile and whatnot, and yeah.
Well, they also have this whole thing where Bruno comes out and says, "Well, you know what? This whole time I was under someone else's control," and I don't think it's right here they say it, but you find out those wrist guards that he has. Mm-hmm. Those basically, they can control him with those, and his whole thing is he just wants a big battle. That's all he's here for. He wants a battle. He doesn't want world domination. He doesn't want this. He doesn't want that. Sure, he's kind of an activist, but he's looking for a battle. That's his whole reason. And once Red actually beats him, he's happy. He's like, oh my god, someone actually beat me. Somebody actually fucking beat me.
Yeah, it's like he's almost like more ecstatic. He's like, this is great. I'm going to go fucking train. Just walking
What about the end of the world? Like, no, training. Sorry, can't help.
You know, it's not my fucking problem. Lance, not my president. Just fucking walks on off, you know, and then of course, like I think this is the part where like everybody starts kind of like splitting up, and almost even it's weird because like every single time they kind of finish battle, like pretty much like the Team Rocket gym leader guys are all kind of like, okay, well I'm fucking done, like so, you know, smell you later, and they just
that's Surge singing the song himself as he just disappears.
Yeah,
like Surge even comes to the thing like, well, we beat the bad guy. Like, he just drops off Bill, like, right on to Red. Like, all right, don't need this no more. Like, oh, goddamn, so big.
Yeah, Red just like, oh, shit, we gotta get back to this. Yeah, I also gotta say this, too. Did you like that there's a fucking Rolling Stones reference in the Pokemon book?
I think it got by me. What was... I never really read the titles. Was it a title?
It was a title. It was, like, in Chapter 85, it's called Gimme Shelter.
I noticed they do that. They do kind of like the Rick and Morty thing, where they'll take like a name of like a song or a movie, and they just Rick it or Mort it somehow. You know what I mean? So I'm noticing that now. That's cool. That's cool. I honestly don't read the titles of the chapters that much, but that makes sense.
You just go past. You're like, where's the pictures with action?
Kinda, yeah. Or the things moving along. I just never really, you know. Well, it's either some like little quip like that, or it's like that very Japanese thing, like, you know, like Shadowcon and Madocon battle, the fire extravaganza, where it's like 8 subtitles.
Oh, like the narration or like the inner monologue.
Well, no, there's like every so often there'll be those animes where it just has like the longest title for like an episode.
Oh yeah. Just one of those super long extended ones and whatnot. I guess there's also, like, because then there's, like, the third battle that's kind of going on. There's still, like, the Agatha and, like, Gengar with Koga and Blue and
which is more of kind of like a maze, which is more of kind of like a game of death maze kind of thing for a second.
Yeah, with, like, kind of mirrors and shit. And, like, if I back up against this wall, Gengar won't be able to jump across our shadows because if our shadows touch, then he can move freely. Like, you know, all those kind of Gengar things.
Mm-hmm. Which once again, this series is really good about having different types of battles each time. It's never the same battle.
Yeah, exactly.
And we find out, like, Agatha is the one where, from where she's at, she's controlling. We find out that, like, there's kind of this hierarchy thing. Since she's a psychic, from where she's at, she's perfectly positioned to control the Shelder and the Hypnomlee, the Shelder and the Machamp and I guess the other like ghost team back in the different cities, and from there those can manage a smaller group of like lower evolved characters.
Yeah, so it's just these like armies kind of going in and whatnot.
And that's where she also says, "Oh yeah, by the way, this is how I was able to this trick I'm doing now. That's how I was able to control Bruno. That's how we were controlling his Hypno-Lee back when he was fighting Green. So it's all these things they just kind of like exposition dump on you, but you need to find these out sooner or later, one way or another.
Yeah. I do also like how Porygon's the one that does like the final blow to like that Gengar too, because I feel like that's another character that sort of just always has gotten like super backseated, and it's just like, oh, it's kind of cool he's getting his little spotlight moments too.
This series is really good about taking a character you don't expect and like, oh wow, he finished off a move or whatever, and then once they're done with the Agatha fight, they're like Bill. He's like, well, god damn it, Red, how the fuck did you get out of there? Like, well, I don't know, but somebody from the shadows came and helped me get out of there. You could totally tell. I wish they didn't show it because it's super obvious. Like, that's obviously Giovanni. I mean, he's not fully detailed, but that's definitely Giovanni.
Yeah, it's just like this very Italian fucking like silhouette.
Oh, well, actually clarify, he's the one that gave him the stones. He gave him the Spoon of Destiny, and then I think he also gave him the stones right there, too.
Yeah, I think something like that.
So maybe it wasn't Red I think it would have been cooler if Red's the one who just went on this quest to get these items than to come back. But I guess that in itself could have been its own issue.
Yeah, almost could have. But even Giovanni does come back for a moment, like the kind of like during like Yellow's and Lance's battle. There is that like moment that Giovanni comes there, but then it ends up being like a trap, like because Lance is like, "Oh, I prepared for you to do this, so now I can take your badge."
Yeah, because they're still fighting in that. Volcano right there. And some reason, a bubble stops you from going in lava. But yeah.
Yeah, they got the kind of weird like protection kind of going on, and then
I think after a while you just run out of excuses. Like, I don't know, it's a bubble, but it's a bubble in lava. It's magic.
Shit.
Fuck you.
They need a place to fucking stand for. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just like fucking look, watch the battle. goddammit. It's like the guy like at a sporting event and he's fucking complaining a bit like, the seats right here are just kind of a little bit crooked. Do you ever just wonder like that? Like, the game's fucking down there. Yeah, but like, who fucking designed this? Can I talk to the guy that designed this? Like, where's he at? You have his phone number?
Well, I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna go down into the team pit and ask them, hey guys, hey fellas, you got the number of the guy?
Yeah, you know who designed who's the guy who put these seats in up here? I got a real problem with it. Well, they're just a little too crooked.
Just hanging down, like upside down, looking into the pit.
Yeah, just just fucking like pounding on the glass. Like, hey, yeah, I know you can see me.
What the fuck, security? Budget cuts.
Yeah, sure. You know how it goes.
For first, I guess it wasn't a good idea to like cut the budget on the fucking seating. God damn it.
But then we realize too that what Lance is doing too is he's taking all this fucking like the energy of the badges and the energy of the fight and the energy of the volcano, and it's like shooting up to pretty much either Lugia or Ho-Oh. I kind of like how it doesn't really give you an exact idea who it is. You just know it's one of those two Pokemon.
Well, it's doing a Marvel. I mean, this is pre-Marvel teaser shit, but it's almost doing that thing of like, oh, you guys, for those who know what this is, get ready for the next fucking thing. Because I didn't check the publication date on these, but I'm assuming this is probably right before Gold and Silver came out.
It's after, actually.
Oh, okay. So
because if you read the special features in these books, like, I think it was like 2 books ago, Gold and Silver came out. So by the time this one came out, like, shit, Crystal's probably already out.
So they're like, all right, the fans really want to know where all the Gold and Silver shit is. So right here in this one, they start teasing all this Gold and Silver shit, which is kind of ballsy when you think about it, because even when, granted, it was probably about to come out when the first, or at least had teases of it when the show first came out in Japan. But, I mean, we got teases of, like, Ho-Ho at the first episode of Pokemon when, way before Gold and Silver.
Yeah, before even Yellow was out.
Which I bet that right there was probably something to the effect of, we got to give people who are done with Gold, Red, and Blue, we got to give them more of a reason to check this out. We're gonna tease a character from Gold and Silver if you watch the first episode. Like, what?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's sort of it. And
that's probably got to be it.
And I don't know, maybe in Japan, like, these books, since, like, it is, a Nintendo kind of book, like, it's not like a normal comic book, you know what I mean? Where, like, because, I think normally these mangas, like, especially if it's only one person, like, you kind of release one of these a year, if you know what I mean. I just remember, like, the Helsing guy's special features. He kind of talked about, he's like, that's what you do. It's a one-a-year thing. But I bet you since there's two people, and God knows if there might be some kind of assistants that don't get credited, but it's one of those ones. These could have came out like maybe like 2 of these books a year, if maybe not even 3. So it might not be like Gold and Silver might be out, but it might still be maybe its first year because there is no mention of Crystal yet. So
yeah. So from here, that's where this battle between Lance and Giovanni goes on a little bit longer. And like you said, it was all a trap so he could get Giovanni's badge. And Giovanni's like, you know what? I usually stick to ground types, but guess what I got? A fucking Beedrill, and I'm pretty good with it.
Yeah, I love how he's got fucking, like, he's doing, like, his mob tactics where he's got fucking Beedrill holding down Lance with its fucking, like, spear right up to his throat. Like, just...
Here's how this is gonna fucking go, all right? I could totally see Andy Garcia playing Giovanni.
Totally can see. That'd be amazing. Andy Garcia, especially, like, I'll even say this, like, if you just had Andy Garcia, like, circa, like, let's just say it was just made, like, this time period, so let's just say 99, 2000 or whatever.
He would have been perfect.
Oh, God.
I mean, he could still play him now. I mean, he could still do it now, but, like, okay, he's clearly an older Giovanni. I mean, Giovanni, his age is kind of ambiguous. He looks like he could be somewhere in his mid-40s to, like,
70s.
Possibly early 50s. Yeah. I don't know, he's kind of, I think, by this point, I'm just guessing, Andy Garcia is probably somewhere in his 60s or something. I'm just guessing. Yeah. So, I don't know. If you were to do that now, I still think he'd be a good choice. I think they're just like, all right, who do we got? Well, I mean, they're like, well, should we look at like I can't believe it, like Joe Pesci for a second? Maybe Joe Pesci. I don't know. He's a little short for that.
Joe Pesci just seems like that's like the Hollywood choice. Be like, well, yeah, but Joe Pesci sells more movies than Andy Garcia. I mean, like, well, if Andy Garcia more looks the part.
Well, at the same time, what was it? The Irishman was a movie that brought Joe Pesci out of retirement. So just like, we got one more for you, Joe. What do we got? We got
Pokemon. What brings Joe Pesci out of retirement? Pokemon Adventures.
Even the Irishman, he was pretty maintained and pretty, like, he was still kind of reserved. He wasn't like, listen here, you motherfucker. He was more of like he was doing, I mean, granted, I think it was how much he was able to get across just for how old he is by this point. But it's like, just play it really reserved. You're trying to be calm. You're trying to keep everyone chill from shooting each other in the fucking head. You're actually the calm guy for once. Try that out. Like, okay, I can do that. And then, so just like, what if we got full on like Goodfellas Joe Pesci for the fucking Pokemon movie?
That'd be awesome.
I want this guy and his fucking Charmander dead. At some point, somebody wakes up in a bed with a flaming ponytail head.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that's different director, but you get the idea. Different actor.
Yeah, exactly. Just ultimate mobster, fucking Giovanni. But as this battle kind of goes, and Giovanni kind of comes in there to sort of like hold up time a bit for Yellow, I guess, to sort of recharge his Pokemon and whatnot. Because then it's like, I think almost like after Giovanni's sort of done, that's when Yellow's Pokemon all like burst out, like, oh, they all super fucking evolved right here and there.
And even from his his Caterpie went from being a Metapod immediately to being like a
Butterfree.
Butterfree. Just like, well, granted, they did just fight the strongest guy in the world. So their levels probably shot up astronomically right there, and that's where it comes this badass. Like, this feels like what they're going for, like the big final battle out of a movie or something, where it's just like, oh no, we're actually having this battle up in the sky or some shit,
Yeah, it just becomes like, there's all flying up there, and Butterfree's like carrying Yellow as she's like flying around, and they're blasting each other and whatnot with hyper beams and mega bolts and all that good stuff. Even then I think there's that other part too where like Green's coming in to. She does something, but she pulls out, like, she's like, I got one more I got a 7th Pokemon. Because she's green, of course she would have a 7th one when nobody else can carry 7 around. She pulls out this one, but it's got a Snubble in there and whatnot, so it's like, oh shit, she's got something from Gold and Silver going on right now.
Yeah. Well, I do like how the series, because I remember as a kid, when I was following the anime series and all this and that, I was wondering, where are these other 100 and whatever characters going to come from? How are they going to explain that? Like, oh, it's just a different continent. That's all it is. Where I was like, oh, okay. I thought it was just like, oh, look, we go around this bush. Look what's over here. You know, I wasn't sure how they're gonna do it, but I think it's a smart thing to do to actually come, because for a while, like, this is all there is. These 151, but then they just like, oh no, just forget that shit we said. We were drunk that day. We were talking about our ass. There's actually a whole other continent with these things. Okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, those like those ones is like, it's more like a video game kind of like thing that you just kind of accept as far as a game goes, but like it is interesting when they do kind of find a way to sort of explain it too.
Mm-hmm.
And as this battle race on, we do get that one kind of moment where like Lance has like his flashback, whatnot, where he's just like standing out there like on like a field that looks like, you know, France after World War I. It's just like trees are blown away, there's like dead bodies laying there and buildings bursted down, and he finds like his Dratini and his Magikarp and all that stuff just like laying in like a pile of like, you know, toxic mustard gas rubble.
And then I guess that's right there where he learned to heal him or something. And this big battle's going on. By this point, Giovanni's out of the fight. And I want to say Yellow had Pikachu do like an attack called Megavolt, which I don't remember that being in the game. Maybe it is. But apparently it's so powerful, not only does it stop whatever Lance was doing, but it does this thing where it sends enough solar radiation that like, oh, all this dead wasteland area starts to blossom and starts to look nice and everything. And Giovanni's like, that's nice. Too bad I don't have any use for it, and walks away.
Yeah, exactly. A flower. I better pick it and bring it home to Martha. Who's Martha? Hey, you wouldn't fucking understand.
You wouldn't know what? Don't fucking ask questions.
Yeah, and if you do know, I'm gonna fucking kill you in the morning. Nobody fucking sees Martha but me. I keep her locked away for a good reason. If she tries to Rapunzel her way out of that castle, I'll be fucking pissed.
So fucking help me Christ, I'll send that Nido King after her.
But like, and then like it spreads flowery joy to even like the outskirts of everywhere in Kanto and whatnot, and this like ginormous like explosion splash page and so on. Somehow, some way, these flowers also seem to kind of like knock out all of like, well, I guess maybe those like Pokemon controlled by Agatha just kind of like give out. It's somewhere they're like, oh geez, so glad that old lady's not talking to us anymore. Yeah.
It is kind of like just we destroyed the mothership, so they all fall over dead. But like, I guess it's too much for Agatha, so all the Pokemon there just fall over, which that part seems a little sudden, but whatever.
Yeah, it's not like the one in Star Wars, like, oh, dude, who the fuck put all the servers in that one space station? Like, oh, I don't know, you told me to put the servers in a space station. I'm not a computer guy. I just thought, sure, I'll load them up in there.
Talk to Jeff from budgeting, okay?
You know, shit, it's one of those days where, you know when those kind of days where you're like, let's get shit done? So we just decided to load them up all that, saying, we didn't realize that fucking war was gonna break out because 2 fucking Jedi showed up and screwed over our fucking, like, budgeting problems.
And we also cannot account for a random chosen one child getting into a cockpit for, you know, safety, accidentally flying into space, accidentally flying into our ship, and accidentally shooting the fucking servers while looking for the steering wheel, all right? We couldn't account for that. And believe it or not, that is not in the insurance.
Yeah, they said that chosen one policy doesn't exist.
Told them we should have renewed for that the following year, but no, what the fuck do I know?
Yeah, but here's the thing. I guess it's the days of droids are just over. It's, you know, well, we were trying to get out of the business anyway, so I think it's all
like there's got to be after that. Somebody's like, no, fuck that. We already invested too much in the fucking droids. We'll be back. So I remember like when going to see Attack of the Clones and seeing like, oh, they got the fucking droids back. How the fuck they got the droids back? Oh, okay, they're back. I was like, I thought those things were fucking done.
Yeah, I guess it was just that it was just those ones that were just all hooked up to that central processing server.
So we're gonna try this one more time. We're just not gonna put them all in the same place.
Yeah, believe me, Jeff is fired. It's fucking his terrible idea of keeping them all up there. Nope. It's kind of weird because Yellow's almost she kind of is sort of like Anakin. You don't really think about that. But I mean, if you think at the same time, it's like that's the exact same time period when they're probably writing this story. Fucking, they probably watched episode 1.
Maybe they just saw that part where how he accidentally saved the day. And granted, Yellow doesn't accidentally save the day.
Yeah, Yellow does it like with like the most powerful like attack that whatever this Megavolt thing is, probably something you learn at level 99. And people's like, Boogaboo!
It's probably one of those things where they saw that and like, oh, wait, if we can write it into a way where it just knocks everything out at once. I mean, granted, I'm not going to give Phantom Menace
we're getting to the end of
a bunch of other movies do it.
It's pulling maybe it's the classic Nintendo thing. Like, shit, we're getting close to we got like fucking 10 pages to go. We need to wrap this up.
Yeah,
fucking mega build. I mean, granted, this has like a huge fucking build up, so it's not like it feels like it just kind of happened.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, at the same time, I'm not trying to give. I know, like people give. I'm not trying to. I know there's a bunch of people who like to talk shit on Phantom Menace all the time.
I fucking love Phantom Menace. Fuck them all.
I like Phantom Menace. I don't love it. I like Phantom Menace. But that being said, there's a bunch of other movies other than Phantom Menace that do the whole like we blew this thing up, so all the troops just stopped. I mean, think about like even Avengers. Like Joss Whedon said, do you realize how long the movie would have been if we had to go and stop every single Chitauri? Yeah, they're just these mindless robot things. Biological robot things. They die once the thing blows up. Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, like, the only people that really pisses off more than anything is people that actually work on computers and go, dude, nobody puts all their fucking servers in the same fucking location. They're like, duh, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like a business thing. Like, why would you, well, if a fire happens, you don't want your entire, like, just imagine, like, YouTube just had, like, all their servers in one area. Be like, oh, shit, someone came in with their fucking, like, battle droid and just destroyed our fucking servers. And, oh, all your videos are gone, everybody. Sorry.
Was it a chosen one, a little yellow ship? Yep, it was.
Fucking, it's always yellow. It's always some fucking yellow person, whether it be a, boy or girl. They show up and fucking terrorize place, but
they're either named Yellow or they're coming in a little yellow spaceship, one or the other.
Yeah. But yeah, here at the very end, like, it's like this big old explosion, and then of course, like, Yellow has a dream where it's like, oh no, where's all my Pokemon? And then she's like running through, and she's like, oh, there's Rattata, there's fucking Caterpie, there's Doduo, where's Pika? And then Pikachu's like running away, like, it's like, ah! Or Red just like jumps his fucking arms, and there's this kind of moments like, oh, hey Yellow. It's on like almost like this. If there was this weird love triangle thing, it's just like
third wheel thing.
Yeah, just be like, oh shit, like hey Red, I thought you were fucking dead. So
I wonder how far along they
found a new trainer.
Sorry, you got to find out this way. That you probably feel like Ben Affleck in Pearl Harbor right now. Another movie that just came out.
Yeah, or you might feel like fucking Tom Hanks in Castaway, but still, once again, another movie that just came out.
Well, I'm wondering that whole thing. Like, I wonder how far ahead they planned for, like, oh, this little random kid, that's to be the character to represent the Yellow game. I wonder if that was really far planned ahead, or if that was some. Because I'm surprised. I mean, even though I still like this series, to be 100% honest, I liked it more when it was Red going on his adventure. Yellow's still good, but this honestly feels like DLC for the series. You know what I mean?
Oh, I totally agree 100%. Because I'll say this, like, the first 3 books, like, that trilogy is, like, pure amazing. That, like, sits there in, like, comic book, manga, like that, to me, feels like you can hold that in, like, some of the highest regards. Like, it sounds weird, but I would almost put that trilogy up with, like, fucking Dark Knight Returns, like, caliber. I know most people be like, the fuck? But, like, that one's so good. Where this one is definitely, it's like extended DLC, where the DLC is technically longer than the real game, but it doesn't feel like as much happened. If that makes sense.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I still really enjoyed these last couple books. This is all really fun. It's a good series, and they do something interesting. Because, like, even when you think, because you go off, I'm not sure if they're trying to do the thing where they use your knowledge against you, but they do interesting creative choices that are different from the game, but still something that I can see happening. You know what I mean? I think there's room for, like, say, if they made another live-action movie, and we end up getting to the Elite Four, and you find out, oh, the Elite Four are eco-terrorists. Yeah. I'm actually, oh, that's cool. That's cool. I'm actually, that's different. That's different. So, and it kind of puts more at stake. So, something like that I'm okay with. And this is still a good series, but I just liked Red more. Mm-hmm. But I understand they're trying to go like, okay, Red was, even though he was a little bit more brash and kind of followed his gut, he was still a really competent trainer. It was interesting watching someone who's not a trainer getting through all this and trying to still, like, save the day. That was interesting in itself. But that being said, I still like Red more, and I still liked his adventure more, but it's still definitely worth reading, this whole series. And it kind of cuts to what everyone's doing, and even, like, all the bad rocket gym leaders, like, hey, boss, what do you want to do? Like, I'm going to go, like, travel the world like King and Kung Fu. What? Yeah, that's what I'm doing. And you guys just go back to your gyms, figure your shit out. We'll come back. Like, whoa, I'm going on vacation. Fuck off.
Oh yeah, and if you see Koga, fucking give him a ring, because what the fuck happened to him?
He did just like ninja disappear.
Yeah, he literally did.
But he is one of the Elite Four or whatever in the in
Gold and
Silver, isn't it? Is
yeah.
he Elite? Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking, that's really what it's tying into right there, because then even Green has that thing like, I'm still looking for that Pokemon that ruined my fucking childhood.
We believe it's Ho-Ho or Lugia, because that's the thing. Like, Lance is trying to capture Lugia or whatever. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Lugia, just the way the head's shaped. But he's trying to capture.
Some of the pictures though has like Ho-Oh like wings. It's like, I like how they don't really let you know exactly which one it is.
I assumed Lugia. I guess it could be Ho-Ho. But at the same time, as that whole battle is going on, because I think Yellow lets it get away and stops the battle, and I'm not sure if like Lance dies or actually Lance has to come back, because at some point Lance is involved with the red Gyarados in Silver and Gold.
Yeah, so he'll probably come back. I mean, granted, I guess this by this point in the Pokemon, like maybe in those first couple books people could die, but by now they're probably like, oh, now they got to play it a little bit more safer.
Yeah, I think, but by this point they realize their audience and what they got to do. And I will say there is a little bit of this when everything starts going back to normal after Yellow saves the day. They do a little bit of this Star Wars thing where, like, you know, if like the Primates and the Mankeys are all basically a bunch of like Ewoks go, whoa, whoa, like watching like this big explosion in the sky from a distance.
Yeah, exactly. One of those ones like really have no idea what it is. Like. At the end of the day,
they think it's their god, like shining down on them.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's just like you probably can't explain it to them. Like, you know what I mean?
But basically, it just ends on this note of like, yep, well, Lieutenant Surge and Sabrina went back to their gyms. No one knows what happened to Koga or Giovanni. Rumor is they opened a cafe together somewhere in Nebraska. You know.
Yeah.
And then the other trainers are all just still training, doing their thing. You know, it just says like everyone just lived happily. I like how when they show all the side characters like Oak, Bill,
Super Nerd.
What's the fuck Super Nerd doing there? He's like, what the fuck am I doing in this window?
Yeah, it's like, oh, that fucking Super Nerd's still fucking there.
It's like, oh, he's with your group. He's not. Well, he's kind of part of our group. In what way? We keep him in a cage in the basement.
You know, if you got you got a problem with like your cell phone breaking, you just slide it into him and he'll fix it for you.
And if he can't fix it, you just pull out this little like beating stick and just beat him to make yourself feel better. Anytime something bad happens, you just go down to the basement.
That's what we keep the Super Nerd for, because if one thing I fucking hate, fucking nerds.
These fucking nerds are the ones that give the rest of us bad names.
Yeah. You know, us good scientists, you know what? We're respectable, but this fucking super nerd puts a bad...
You can't trust him. He has those glasses with the fucking swirls in them constantly.
Yeah, you don't know what direction he's fucking looking. Fucking looks like Sega Dreamcast loading screen.
Fucking... What, you gonna tell me you got those things at fucking lens crafters? No, you fucking didn't.
Yeah, stop looking at fucking girls' panties.
Creepy little fuck. Now get back to your shame cage.
Ah, Jesus Christ! But
before I have to misery your ass and cut one of your legs off.
Because you know I fucking will. Shit, I'll cut your arm off and I'll replace mine. Put some youth back into me. But no, yeah, this whole way it's so super fun, and even these other ones that they're still great. I mean, like, granted, the reason I think I also like the first three books also more too is like I like the adventure part more than I like the super battles, because these last couple of books, like I think almost like the last 2 or 3 have been almost like pure battles. You know what I mean? So like I always kind of like the adventure aspect of like a story more than like, you know, the straight up pure action. Not that's not fun, but like at the end of the day, it's almost like why I always kind of like prefer Dragon Ball over Dragon Ball Z. I like both of them, but I love the adventure parts of Dragon Ball.
Yeah, the last 2 volumes, I want to say when they stop and go back and say what happened to Ash. I mean, I'm Red.
Mm-hmm.
When they do that, I think that's all pretty interesting. But then beyond that, it is just a lot of long battles for a while. The battles are fun and interesting, but I think the series starts off better than it ends. That being said, still a really good series, still interesting. And we forgot to mention when it ends on the note of Green still looking for the bird that attacked her as a kid, and then you see she's talking to someone on the phone, and I don't remember Gold and Silver that well. I remember I played. I didn't ever finish Gold and Silver, but I remember I played it when I was younger. Is that the first gym leader, the guy she's talking to, or is that like?
No, that's your rival. Is Silver is the rival and Gold is the hero. So it's almost like.
Oh, okay.
That's what they're kind of going with. Well, it sounds weird because I always feel like it sounds odd, but like I know the colors are completely different. But I always feel like Silver always felt like red and Gold always felt like blue. I guess like the version wise.
Now, is Silver the character Silver? Because he's the rival from the new one. Is he? People said that he would steal your Pokemon if you lost. I never actually lost to him when I played. Is that true in the game?
Well, I never lost. It sounds like a fucking like. Well, I fucking never lost, but I don't think so. I think that's a total rumor thing.
Okay, because that was the thing. Like, if you lose to him, he'll steal them. So. But there's a thing I think that happened in the game where he did steal some Pokemon or something like that. So, but anyway,
it's been a while since I played. The last time I played Gold and Silver was when Heart Gold and Soul Silver remakes came out. But,
I might have to try and get those eventually. I just moved and I don't know. Fuck, I put my 3DS. So I was like, man, I should download like Heart Gold or Soul Silver, one of those, and just see what now that I'm kind of in this mood for it. But now I'm like, I don't know what the fuck it is. So,
well, if you find your 3DS and you come back this way, I have extra copies. So
right.
if you happen to, because that one is very much worth playing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, if I would almost say like after you play any version of Red and Blue or Yellow, whatever ones like you play out of like the first remakes or even the second remake, the next one that gives you like a real great Pokemon experience though is Heart Gold and Silver. Like,
yeah, I'm kind of in the mood to check that out, and I felt like being 33, just go to my girlfriend like, where's my DS? I don't know where my DS is. That was a fucking hard thing to do. Still looking through all these fucking boxes for it.
Just like, out of all the fucking things she forgot the fucking DS.
Well, like I'm going back to Oakland, like freaking like Bruce Willis in Pulp Fiction.
Sneaking in through the fucking backyard and whatnot and so on.
I go in through the fucking back kitchen, and for some reason, there's like my 3DS sitting on the counter next to a little kangaroo.
Yeah, right next to the Kangaskhan like statue.
Do you know my dad went through to get me that 3DS? I don't have time to go into it, but it's a lot.
It was fucking Christmas, and it was just like Jingle All the Way, but he found a way to make it out of there.
He had to jam it up his ass.
just like got the whole fucking box like.
For some reason, John Travolta's waiting in my bathroom with a machine gun. Like, I don't question it. Like, I got my 3DS. Let me get the fuck out of here.
Who the fuck is this guy?
Oh, this is the new roommate that's replacing us.
Fucking Pop-Tarts flips out of the machine, and you just end up shooting him like, dude, you know how hard it is to find another roommate? Like, I don't know. Why the fuck is there a gun just laying here on the counter?
It's Oakland. Shit.
Yeah, shit. Why'd you pick the gun up and just decide that it was yours?
Fire at him.
Ryan, just take your fucking 3DS and get out of here. Shit.
All right, I'm gonna go pick up gold or silver on the way. I think there's a target.
Which one do you think I should get? Get the fuck out of here.
Gold it is.
But
or my silver guy. I don't know.
But Pokemon, so much good fun, so much awesome stuff. Yeah, you can never have enough Pokemon in life. But beyond all that good stuff, go to oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, comics like Pizza Boys, old animations, and so on. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunnigan.
And we'll see you some other time.
Later, folks.
Thanks again for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Sure to check out oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, cartoons, music, animation, and a whole lot more. We also have the Old Man Orange blog going with all kinds of fun stuff. If you easily want to support the show, use one of our Amazon links either on the website or in the description of the podcast below. Rate, review, and subscribe to the show either on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Newgrounds, or anywhere else that you seem to get this podcast from. Grab the sitcom-styled comic book Pizza Boys on either Comics Central, Comixology, or Amazon. Want more podcasts? Check out the Indie Comics Club over at Comics Central. I also got a workout website called Thor's Hidden Gym, filled with fitness tips and tricks, videos, and a whole lot more fun stuff in the calisthenics world. Talk to us on Twitter at Spencer S. Holmes and Dunnigan Ryan. Like our Facebook pages of Old Man Orange Productions and Pizza Boys Comic. Thanks again. We're out of here.